So now what is prostatitis? As the name suggests, it is the inflammation of the prostate gland, okay? So now what are the types? So you get three types of prostatitis. One is acute, then chronic, and the last one is granulomatous. So coming to acute prostatitis, as the name suggests, it is an acute inflammation of the prostate. So now there will be focal or diffuse suppurative inflammation, and it is most commonly due to ascent of bacteria from the urethra. Then occasionally by lymphogenous or hematogenous spread from distant focus of infection, and it may be a complication of any urethral manipulation like catheterization, cystoscopy, urethral dilatation and surgical procedures. And the most common pathogen which causes acute prostatitis is E. coli, okay, followed by Klebsiella, Proteus, Pseudomonas, etc. Now coming to the diagnosis. So acute inflammation is key. What type of cells do you get? Neutrophils. Okay, neutrophils are acute inflammatory cells. Okay, so how will you diagnose? The first and foremost is culture of urine samples. Okay, so then next is morphology. How will the prostate gland appear to you grossly? So on gross, the prostate will be enlarged, swollen and tense, okay, because it is inflamed. And on cut section, you will get multiple abscesses and foci of necrosis. On histology, what will you get? You will see the prostatic acini, that is the glands, will be very much dilated and they will be filled with neutrophilic infiltrate, okay? And there may be diffuse acute inflammation along with edema, hyperemia and foci of necrosis. So on histology, this is a histopathological image where you can see these are the prostate glands which you are seeing and they are filled with neutrophilic infiltrate, okay? And these are the glands and this is the stroma. You can see acute inflammatory cells in the stroma as well, okay? So next is chronic prostatitis. So coming to chronic prostatitis, it is more commonly seen and there will be foci of chronic inflammation and it is frequently present in males above the age of 40, okay? These patients are mainly asymptomatic and there are two types of chronic prostatitis. One is bacterial and the other one is abacterial. So coming to chronic bacterial prostatitis, as you can see, there will be, it is a consequence of recurrent urinary tract infections. And how will you diagnose? You will see more than 10 to 12 WBCs or pus cells per high power field in the prostatic secretions. And cultures will be positive since it is bacterial. And these patients are difficult to treat since antibiotics, they poorly penetrate the prostate. Next is chronic abacterial prostatitis. As the name suggests, here it is abacterial. So here there will be no history of recurrent infections and WBCs are present in the prostatic secretions, but as the name suggests, the culture will be negative, okay, in such cases. And the pathogens are mainly chlamydial, trachomatis and ureaplasma urolitic. So now morphologic, the specimen will look the same, okay, in case of bacterial and abacterial. Similarly, there will be an enlarged prostate which will be either fibrosed or you will get a shrunken prostate. What are the chronic inflammatory cells we get? Lymphocytes. So here in histopath you will get lymphocytes, okay, predominantly lymphocytes, then macrophages. There will be corpora amylaceae which is commonly seen in the prostatic secretions and the seminal vesicles are not involved. So on histopath what will you see? As you can see, these are the enlarged glands with the corpora amylaceae, that is the secretions, and you can see the chronic lymphocytic infiltrate in the stroma, okay? Another image demonstrating a prostatic gland over here and chronic inflammatory cells in the stroma. Next is granulomatous prostatitis. So it is a variant of chronic prostatitis and it is caused by leakage of the prostatic secretions into the stroma. That is, whatever the prostate glands are secreting, those secretions will spill into the stroma and it will lead to a inflammation. So these are mainly autoimmune in origin. Similarly, here the prostate gland will be enlarged, firm to hard, and inflammatory reaction will be seen, which will be composed of macrophages, lymphocytes, plasma cells, and multinucleated foreign body type giant cells. So on histopathology, what you are seeing? You are seeing a granulomatous reaction in the stroma. You can see that these prostatic glands are very much enlarged. On higher power, you can see there is dense inflammation. All these blue cells are the inflammatory cells, okay? And on higher power, you can see these giant cells. These are the multinucleated giant cells, which are foreign body type, okay? And this inflammation is happening due to the spillage of the secretions from the glands to the surrounding stroma, okay? Okay, so the next, this is prostatitis, okay? So what are the three types of prostatitis we read just now? Acute, chronic and granulomatous, okay? So coming to next topic is your benign prostatic hyperplasia, which is very much commonly heard. Many old people, whenever you hear of any urinary incontinence or any urinary problems, you always suspect that his prostate is enlarged, okay? So now, what is BPH? It is a non-neoplastic tumor-like enlargement of the prostate gland, okay? So it is very common condition in the age group of more than 50 years. And symptomatic BPH produces urinary obstruction and requires surgical treatment in up to 5 to 10% cases. So now, as you can see, this is a pictorial representation. Here, this is the urinary bladder and this is the normal prostate gland. What is the normal weight of the prostate gland? It is around 20 to 25 grams. Okay, normal weight of an adult prostate is 20 to 25 grams and it is the size of a walnut. Okay, so now you can see here the prostate is showing nodules and it is hyperplastic. Okay, the size has increased, because of which you are seeing that the urethra is very much obstructed. So definitely the patient will have obstructive symptoms. So what are the main etiological factors? First and foremost is endocrine, okay? So this is due to the hormonal imbalance. The other etiological factors can be racial, inflammation or arteriosclerosis. So next, the level of androgen is high in males and levels of estrogen is high in females. This is what you know, okay? So here in case of BPH, what happens? Due to the advancing age in males, there will be a decline in androgen and increase in estrogen, okay? So because of which the periurethral inner prostate is responsive to this increasing estrogen. So the periurethral region will be hyperplastic, okay? So that place will increase in size. So now clinical features, as I told you all, patient will have urethral obstruction. So because of which he will have incontinence, okay? Urinary incontinence. And other symptoms will be increased frequency, nocturia, difficulty in micturition, pain and very rarely hematuria, okay? So now morphologically, what will you get? On gross, as I told you all, the prostate will be increased, that is enlarged in size, nodular, smooth and firm, okay? And its weight will increase 2 to 4 times than the normal weight, okay? So what is the normal weight I told you all? 20 to 25 grams. Then cut section varies depending on the glandular or fibromuscular, like the prostate is made up of glands and stroma, right? So if there is glandular hyperplasia, then glands will increase, okay? But if there is stromal hyperplasia, you will see fibromuscular hyperplasia, which I will discuss later. Okay. If there is glandular hyperplasia, then the cut section will look yellow-pink, soft, honeycombed, and milky fluid will exude, okay, come out. Then on fibromuscular hyperplasia, the cut section will be firm and homogeneous and there will be no fluid. Okay, so next comes on histology. So first I told you there are two types of hyperplasia. One is glandular and one is fibromuscular. So in glandular, what will you see? You will see exaggerated intra-acinar papillary infoldings with delicate fibrovascular cores, and the lining epithelium is two-layered. That is the inner tall columnar layer and the outer cuboidal layer. Okay. And in fibromuscular hyperplasia, there will be aggregates of spindle cells. And what else you can get along with BPH? You will get foci of lymphoid aggregates, small areas of infarction, corpora amylasia, and foci of squamous metaplasia. So this is on gross, as you can see. This is the prostate gland cut section, and you can see the nodularities are along the periurethral region. So this is the urethra. Okay, this is the urethral opening, and you can see that the hyperplasia is periurethral. Okay, on microscopy, as I told you, there will be increased glands, okay, along with papillary infoldings. On higher power, you can see these papillary infoldings, and each gland will be lined by two cell layers, okay, the inner columnar and the outer cuboidal. So if the glands are lined by two cell layers, then it is benign, okay, it is a benign condition. In carcinoma, what happens? In adenocarcinoma, they will be lined by a single layer, okay. So that is how you differentiate. It is very difficult to differentiate between adeno and benign case in cases of prostatic biopsies, okay. So these are the papillary infoldings, and you can see all these glands are lined by two cell layers. See, the inner columnar and the outer basal layer, okay. Two cell layer lining, and these secretions are the corpora amylasia which you see, okay. So this is a case of glandular hyperplasia of prostate. Okay, so this is a fibromuscular hyperplasia. As you can see, you cannot see glands, but you are seeing that the stroma is very much hyperplastic, okay, very much cellular. See, on higher power, you can see that the stroma is showing very high cellularity, okay. You are seeing lot of spindle cells. Okay, so now, as I told you all that the prostatic hyperplasia of two types. One is the glandular hyperplasia and one is the stromal hyperplasia, okay. And along with that, you can also see chronic inflammation, as I told you all. Okay, so now IHC. IHC plays a very important role. Why? Because when we have a difficulty, most of the times we diagnose it as BPH, okay. But suppose case comes when we are not being able to identify the two cell layers, okay, in the biopsy. That time we can take use of the IHCs, okay, because we stain them with P63 or high molecular weight cytokeratins. These will stain the basal cells, okay. So whenever we get the basal cells, that means there are a two cell layer lining, okay. So in case of benign cases, we usually don't do IHC, but suppose there is a confusion between adeno and benign prostatic hyperplasia, that time we can make use of the IHC, okay. If we do these IHC panels, then we can see that the secretory, that is the columnar cells, will take a stain of PSA, PSAP and NKX 3.1, and the basal cells will stain for P63. So these two cell linings we will be able to see. And the stromal cells are positive for CD34, smooth muscle actin and desmin. Okay. And for prostatic adenocarcinoma, just for your knowledge, just remember that if you stain for PSA or AMACR, then you can diagnose a prostatic adenocarcinoma. Okay, here you will not get the basal stain because the basal lining is absent in case of prostatic adenocarcinomas. Okay, so just for your MCQ purpose, you can remember one or two stains, okay, which are positive for what. Okay, so to summarize, so you all understood, no, like BPH and chronic prostatitis, any problems you all are having? Okay, so to summarize, First we discussed prostatitis. What are the types of prostatitis I told you all? Acute, chronic and granulomatous. Okay, so now you can differentiate. Okay, how will you come to a diagnosis of acute, chronic and granulomatous, and what are the etiology? Okay, few organisms you all have to remember. Acute prostatitis, what will be the histological finding? Acute inflammatory cells, that is the prostatic secretions will be positive for neutrophils. Okay, and for chronic prostatitis, you will see chronic inflammation, okay? And granulomatous, you will see chronic inflammation along with foreign body type giant cells. Why does it happen? Spillage, yes, leakage of the prostatic secretions into the stroma, okay? Then next is BPH. Again, what are the types of benign prostatic hyperplasia? Glandular hyperplasia and fibromuscular hyperplasia. Now on gross, what will you find? Enlargement of the prostate along with nodularity in the periurethral region. Okay? And IHC, as I told you all, for basal cells, you all can do P63 or high molecular weight cytokeratins. And for the secretory luminal cells, you can do a PSA. Okay? Also, we do a PSA for all patients who are undergoing a prostatectomy. Why? Because if the PSA is increased, we usually suspect a adenocarcinoma. Okay? So that's why PSA is necessary for these patients. Okay? The serum PSA. Okay?